Have you ever heard of a hotel that's always 100% full, but also always has a vacancy? Sounds impossible, right? Well, welcome to Hilbert's Hotel. It's a famous thought experiment where the normal rules of reality just don't apply. So let's check in and see just how deep this rabbit hole goes. So here it is, the central puzzle. A hotel is completely full. Every single room has a guest in it. And yet, the manager insists they can always make room for one more. How on earth is that possible? Well, the answer lies in one of the weirdest, most fascinating concepts in all of mathematics: infinity. All right, so this whole crazy idea was cooked up by a brilliant German mathematician named David Hilbert back in the 1920s. He imagined a hotel with a very special twist. It doesn't have 100 rooms, or 1,000, or even 1,000,000. It has an infinite number of rooms, numbered 1, 2, 3, and stretching on, well, forever. Now, in any hotel you've ever been to, full means full. No vacancy, end of story. But Hilbert's Grand Hotel, it plays by a completely different set of rules, the bizarre, counterintuitive rules of infinity. Here, the word full is more of a suggestion than a hard fact. Okay, to make this a real brain breaker, let's set the scene. The hotel is totally, completely occupied. There's a guest in room 1, a guest in room 2, a guest in room 3, and so on for all of the infinite rooms. There is not a single empty bed in the entire place. It is packed. So just then, a new traveler walks up to the front desk asking for a room. In any other hotel on the planet, they'd be politely turned away. But here, the manager doesn't even blink. They've got a plan, and it's surprisingly simple and kind of beautiful. Check this out. The manager gets on the intercom and asks every single guest to please pack up their things and move one room down the hall. So the guest in room N just shuffles over to room N+1. The person in room 1 moves to room 2. Room 2 moves to 3. 100 moves to 101, and on it goes. Since there's no last room, nobody gets left out. And just like that, poof, room 1 is now completely empty, ready for our new guest.
All right, that was a pretty neat trick, I'll admit, but I know what you're thinking. That only works for one person. Surely this clever little system has its limits. What happens if the problem gets, infinitely bigger? And as if on cue, an enormous bus pulls up to the hotel. But this isn't just any bus. It's an infinitely long bus, carrying a countably infinite number of new passengers, and every single one of them needs a room for the night. Now the manager has a real problem on their hands. Or do they? I mean, seriously, think about that for a second. The hotel is already full. How in the world can you possibly make space for not one, but an infinite number of new people? This feels completely, utterly impossible. But you have to remember, we're not in Kansas anymore. We're playing by the rules of infinity. Our manager, who is clearly a genius at infinite logistics, has another plan. They get on the intercom again and ask every current guest to move from their room N to room 2N. So the guest in room 1 moves to room 2. The guest in room 2 moves to room 4. The guest in room 3 moves to room 6. You see the pattern, right? All of the original guests are now only in the even-numbered rooms. Now hold on. Let that sink in. If all the original guests are now cozy in rooms 2, 4, 6, 8, and all the other even numbers, what about rooms 1, 3, 5, and 7? You got it. Every single odd-numbered room in this infinite hotel is now wide open. And here is the absolutely brilliant solution. How many odd numbers are there? An infinite amount. Our manager has just magically created an entirely new infinity of empty rooms. So now, every single person from that infinite bus has a place to stay. Problem solved. Mind blown. At this point, this might all seem like a bunch of clever wordplay, a fun little riddle, but it's actually a demonstration of the very real and very weird properties of infinite sets. So let's pull back the curtain and look at the actual math that makes this whole magic trick work. The secret sauce here is the specific kind of infinity we're dealing with. It's called a countable infinity, or Aleph null if you want to get fancy. It just means that even though the set goes on forever, you can theoretically count its members by matching each one up with a natural number, like 1, 2, 3, just like the rooms in the hotel or the guests on the bus. This right here, this is the rule that breaks our brains. An infinite set can be in a one-to-one correspondence with a proper subset of itself. What does that even mean? It means you can take an infinite collection of things and match it up perfectly with a smaller part of that same collection. It's exactly what we did. We took all the guests and matched them perfectly with just the even-numbered rooms. This is totally impossible with finite numbers, and it's the very definition of what makes an infinite set. Well, infinite. So this leads to some absolutely wild conclusions. It means infinity can be stretched and squashed to make more room. It means you can add to infinity, and it stays the exact same size. Subsets, like all the even numbers, can have the same size as the entire set of numbers. And for our hotel, it means fully occupied and cannot accommodate more are two completely different ideas. Okay, so this is a fantastic puzzle, a great way to bend your mind. But does it have any bearing on the real world? Why should we care about this imaginary hotel? Well, it turns out Hilbert's Hotel is way more than just a brain teaser. I mean, first off, it's an amazing tool for teaching abstract math, but it's also fundamental for understanding that there are different sizes of infinity. And get this, physicists have actually created real-world analogs of the hotel using light beams, which is just incredible. And of course, for philosophers, it raises huge questions about whether something like true infinity could even exist in our physical universe. Now, after making room for an infinite bus full of people, you might think this hotel is completely unstoppable. But there is a twist. There is a type of infinity out there that is so vast, so dense, that even the brilliant manager of Hilbert's Hotel would finally have to hang up a real no vacancy sign. This monster is called an uncountable infinity. Don't just think of the whole numbers, 1, 2, 3. Think of all the numbers in between them. Every possible decimal, every fraction, every irrational number like pi. You simply can't make a neat list of them to assign to rooms. There are just more of them. It is a fundamentally bigger infinity than the number of rooms in our hotel. And that just leaves us with this huge, fascinating thought to chew on. Hilbert's Hotel shows us that infinity isn't just one simple idea. It's a whole hierarchy of different mind-boggling sizes. And it forces us to ask a really deep question. Could a true physical infinity actually exist in our universe? Or is it something that will only ever live in the beautiful, bizarre world of pure mathematics? It's definitely something to think about the next time you see a no vacancy sign.